Hello and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be having a look at one of the new bosses in Warlords of Draenor. This is on LFR difficulty, but actually because of the way things are tuned at the minute, you can get a very good idea of the mechanics. Now this guy's called Brackenspore, and I've got to admit I so far have got a very positive impression of the boss. However, it does have one or two little tuning problems, which basically mean that it's not that it's unkillable, it's just that it would take a very long time, perhaps longer than the healers will be able to last in terms of mana. But basically, he is this big fungal giant guy, and the main mechanic of the fight is, yes, his own abilities, but also the fact that he spawns in a whole bunch of various forms of fungus. There are hostile funguses, which are mean, and then there are beneficial funguses, which are nice. Now, the other things you'll probably notice right now is this green gloop on the floor. This just spreads around the place. I think it does, like, it says here in the Dungeon Journal it's like 26,000 damage a second to anyone who's on it. So that's fun stuff. Actually, no, it's 13,000 on LFR difficulty. Yeah, so it does a bit of damage, but it also heals any fungal creatures on it by 2% every 2 seconds. So if you're fighting any of these moss guys on top of the gloop, then they're going to heal for a little bit. And of course you don't want to tank the boss or anything like that on top of the gloop. Now that gloop can be destroyed. Can be destroyed by the Black Fuse Company 9000 flamethrower. This is pretty cool. I've never got to use it, unfortunately, because other people have always snapped it up first. But basically what happens is that when you use it, you can burn away. You'll see people do this from time to time on the video, but you can burn away the gloop. And that just gives you more space to play with. Now then, let's just talk about the actual funguses, because I know you've probably been wondering what the hell they're all doing. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Mind Fungus. You can see one of those just to the right now. There, it's dead. Now that Mind Fungus will basically just slow everyone's casting by 10%. No, not by 10%. I'm an idiot! No. Dungeon Journal, where are you? Sorry, 75%. So very bad for your cast speeds. That's something that you just, want to destroy, obviously. However, it doesn't really matter if you're a hunter and you stand in it, which is quite nice. So yeah, you just want to keep them dead. Now, the other thing that just popped up beside me is basically a pea shooter from Plants vs. Zombies. It shoots out these little spores. They go in a line towards something. So they're fun. And when they hit a player, they will instantly explode, dealing damage to anyone within 8 yards. So ideally what you want to do when you're dealing with them is you want to just intercept them before they hit the main group. That way their damage is only applied to one player instead of the whole raid, which is pretty cool. Now that big fungal giant dude that isn't the boss you just saw spawn in is a fungal flesh eater. Now these are super fun for the tanks. So one of their abilities is Flesh Eater. This will increase their damage dealt, attack speed, and cast speed by 10%, and it stacks. So basically, it gets to the point where this will just maul your tank. That's why these Flesh Eaters actually do need to be killed. They do another ability which has to be interrupted, though frankly, I was terrible at doing this for some reason. It was pretty late when I recorded this footage. Well, actually, funny enough, it's like 5 AM. Yeah, 5:30 in the morning now when I'm recording this, so hurrah. Anyway, it does 40k damage to everyone in the raid if it's not interrupted, so obviously you want to, unlike me, interrupt that. That'll be a good thing. Yeah, okay, so next let's talk about the good friendly funguses. These are lovely. So, you've got your living mushroom, that's one of them. Now this will essentially spawn with not full health. And what happens is that if a healer heals that up to full health, it will start radiating a 23,000 health per second hot to everyone around it within a 20-yard radius. So that's pretty cool. And the other thing that it does is that it will wither away over time, so it just loses health, whatever, and it eventually dies. And the rate of the decay will increase over time. So basically, it starts dying, and you lose your effect. Now the other kind of mushroom is the rejuvenating mushroom. This is actually pretty cool. Once it's fully healed up, it will increase haste by 30% and also increase mana regeneration, so that's pretty cool. And like the other mushroom, it will just die off. Honestly, they're not something that I had to deal with too much during the fight. Now, I'll quickly just mention the abilities of the boss himself. So he does Rot. This is a stacking dot that is applied on the tank, so I guess that will force a tank swap. Then he also does something called Necrotic Breath. this is basically just a big AoE cone thingy. It's like a frontal cone, and it will also reduce any healing taken by its target for a while. So yeah, that's the thing you just want to point away from the tank, or away from the raid, and let the tanks deal with. Then finally, he does a thing called Infesting Spores. This does damage every second to basically everyone, and this can stack up, so it's pretty deadly, and it's something that the healers are going to have to deal with. Now then, now that I've sort of covered all of the specific mechanics, time to get into the fight. So right now, the balancing issue that I talked about is the health. He's got 110 million health, the Fungal Giant ads have got 10 million health, and it's just too much health. I mean, for an example, the Butcher has got, I think, 63 million health. So it's a bit crazy like that, and I don't think anyone's actually been able to kill him. Anyway, so what's going on right now? Well, it seems like our flamethrower people have died, and the flamethrowers actually spawn these little racks, which are basically beside the mob that I'm targeting right now. I think they only spawn at the start of the fight, not 100% sure on that, but anyway. And actually, the way the flamethrowers work is they kind of expand ammunition, or they like heat up or something, and you need to stop and let them cool down after you use them. Anyway, so yeah, as you can see, because of whatever's going on, we're not really doing too well in terms of us being able to clear out the gloop off the floor, and that actually leads to a bit of a problem, because the pea shooters can, or not the pea shooters, whatever they're called, the spore shooters can, like that one there, they can spawn really far in the, to the back of the room, and that can lead to some really significant problems, because you won't be able to reach them, and as a regular player who didn't have the flamethrower, I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to do. So, a little bit strange there for LFR, but hopefully some of these things will be sort of tweaked up in terms of balance. Now, I do like these spore shooter things. It's very good for me because I'm a hunter, and oh yeah, this is where I get boxed in. The unique niche of my class is that I am able to be very mobile and do full DPS, unless I'm marksmanship, of course, because they're mastery. So it just gives me something to do, you know. I can be hopping around killing these guys and intercepting the things. I think right now I was letting them go past because I didn't want to get inside the gloop, and also I was conscious that I was kind of on low health and not really close to the rest of the raid. Plus, I was also very conscious that I would likely have to take some damage to get back to everyone else. Though, thankfully, this guy did come in with his flamethrower and save my ass, which was a good thing. And really, that's about it for this fight. What you want to do is just kill the mean mushrooms, let your healers heal up the friendly mushrooms, and, of course, be very careful about, you know, not standing in front of the frontal cone that the boss does, interrupting decay on the Fungal Giant ads, and in general, just not being a complete dingus. It's a pretty simple fight, frankly. It really is not too hard, but it's very readable. It only took me one attempt to completely understand what the mechanics were and what was going on, and I just found it to be really quite engaging. Unfortunately, though, we didn't kill it, and, you know, well, spoiler alert, don't kill it in this video, as I think I already mentioned, but yeah, I think we just ran out of time. It's just like the war of attrition, you know. A few players die every once in a while, we run out of combat reses, then the healers get low on mana and all that stuff, and eventually the group wipes. Plus, I don't know if it was this attempt, but I know that in one of the attempts, the Fungal Giant ad was not being focused down, and it just got to the stage where it was able to absolutely, just wreck people, nearly one-shotting them. So it really does need to be killed. And overall, that's basically the fight. Just, you know, kill the stuff, then when there's no stuff to kill the boss, and you should be happy. You'll, of course, be aided by the 30% haste, so that'll be nice. And overall, pretty cool fight. Now, technically, this is the third boss of the instance. Well, it's the third boss that we had access to. The third boss of the instance, according to the Dungeon Journal, is actually Tectus. This is technically the fourth boss, so we don't know what's going on there, but I think that for an early boss, it's certainly pretty cool, and it's, you know, it's a good introduction. So, yeah, there you go. That's a bit of a look at Brackenspore. Awesome boss. Unfortunately, the scaling problems were going on, which meant that we couldn't kill him because of his health pool, but I was overall very happy. Do let me know what you think about this boss and all that stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.